Hi everyone, welcome back to the ASUS graphics channel. I'm Jake and today we've got another exciting stream for you guys. We're going to be going over Alan Wake 2 in celebration for Halloween coming up tomorrow. So if you guys haven't heard, Alan Wake 2, it's a sequel to the previous one, of course, given the name. It's been quite a few years since that first title, and this one is a little bit different, but so far from my time checking out, it's actually been pretty awesome, and I'm enjoying some of the different takes that they've had on everything with the gameplay, and especially the story. But for this stream today, we're actually going to be going over some of the awesome NVIDIA tech that's in here, like ray tracing, DLSS 3.5, and to help me do that, we've got Michael from NVIDIA.
Hey, how's it going, Jake?
It's going very well.
Good. Well, it's good to join you again. I know we just did the Cyberpunk stream last week, so looking forward to taking a look at Alan Wake 2 this week.
Me too, and I actually think this is probably even better than that one to showcase some of the tech. I've gotten to spend a little bit of time with it, and this really is a pretty gorgeous showcase for everything that's going on with all of these features. I know that I've gotten to spend a little bit of time with, ray tracing on and off in the game, and yeah, it's even from the little bit I've gotten to see, it's really starting to push the limits more and more of what can be done with this tech.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, to your point, this is an excellent showcase of really all the technologies just coming together, right? This game loves 40 series GPUs. There's no question at all, and it really just brings all of the great technologies we have right now all together in one game, and it's just an amazing showcase of what's possible using full path tracing or full ray tracing, otherwise known as path tracing, as well as all of our AI accelerated technology like DLSS, right? So it's really just an amazing showcase for all of it.
Absolutely. So with that, let's go ahead and load in. We definitely want to let you guys know too that there is a bundle going on at this time. If you've been in the market for an RTX 40 series card, or if you happen to very recently pick one up, you can pick up a code for this game as well. I highly recommend checking it out. Even if you're not a fan of horror genre, something to keep in mind is that this is a bit more of the,
do me a favor.
not so much the survival horror, where you might be like running for your life and frantic and jump scares and stuff as much. It's a bit more like mystery horror and trying to kind of uncover things. And it's easy enough to get into it without having to worry so much about, your heart rate going through the roof.
Awful thing happened to your baby girl.
Yeah, agreed. And just to clarify, like Jake mentioned, we do have a bundle going on with participating partners right now. So it's been active since the 10th of October, and it is good until the 13th of November. So if you purchase an RTX 4070 and up, whether that's an individual discrete card, whether that's through a participating retailer, whether that's through if you have a laptop, or if you buy a desktop system through a participating system integrator, you have the ability to grab one of these codes. And again, it's an amazing showcase to go with your RTX 40 series GPU.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about it during the last stream, but the tech really just keeps being pushed more and more. And it's honestly impressive to me at this point just how much is able to be done with it going forward. And I know some of it's new hardware that gets added to the actual cards themselves, updates to the RT cores, updates to Tensor cores, things of that nature. But, where ray tracing was when it was first showcased and where it is now is a world of difference. And this game really does a good job of showcasing some of this stuff. Even, in this little diner, we're able to see all these reflections just in this little kind of pastry window, right? You're able to see outside, see the trees and some other stuff like this. And we mentioned it during the last stream, but this breathes life into the game. It leaves it less flat. It adds a bit of realism and depth to it. And ultimately, the goal of all this is just to make it more immersive and, make you be able to be more involved and kind of like take you away from reality, so to speak, so that you can really experience kind of the art and content and everything else that the developers wanted you to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is one of the very few games that is utilizing what is called full ray tracing. You probably have heard of it called path tracing. Uh, back when we introduced it with like Minecraft RTX or Quake 2 RTX, and you've seen it in the Portal 2 RTX. So, those kind of generated some momentum for the term path tracing. And really, in a nutshell, what it does is it replaces all of the rasterized lighting in the game engine and replaces it with, again, full ray tracing. And so, again, the purpose is to simulate light as it would react in reality. There are obviously some settings in this game that allows you to kind of change some of the lighting, whether it's indirect or direct, or if it's how many bounces each ray will have. So I think right now, Jake, you're playing on the highest path trace settings, which allows up to 3 bounces per ray. So, and really what that means is, each ray will bounce off an object, and either that ray will run out of energy, or it will hit another light source, or it will reach a preset number of reflection or bounces, right? So in this case, on the highest setting, it will do up to 3 bounces for each ray that's being cast into the scene from the viewport. So some other games have similar amount of bounces, but this game, it's just incredible. I mean, you can see the detail with the light coming in through the windows and how it reflects off of the glossy tables, even how some of the light reacts to someone's porcelain coffee cup, right? So all the materials, depending on the material, the light will react and bounce differently. So it really is an amazing take on how light is simulated in a video game. And this is one of the first games, AAA games, that we're seeing it used in. So it's only going to get better from here. And this is probably one of the best looking games I've seen this year so far, maybe ever, with this lighting system. So it's pretty incredible.
I couldn't agree more. And honestly, to me, I sit here and I kind of walk through some of this stuff, and it actually reminds me of some of the demos that are used. But now, we're getting some demo level quality, which you typically expect to be kind of curated and set to show best case scenario. And we're starting to get some of those feelings and experiences within, a full-fledged game itself, which to me is exciting that we're starting to reach that point. And I think now is a good time to start showcasing some of the different areas. And, we're talking about all this cool stuff, right? But let's take a look at, what is ray tracing on, path tracing on, versus not. And this is what you get. And I think this is a very clear-cut and good example of what I was talking about with breathing life into the game. Like this little donut thing, don't get me wrong, I don't want to disparage the game devs at all. They've done a great job with the game itself and details and everything, and you can still see, a silhouette moving around and stuff, and, a little bit of some types of these hazy reflections, but you've lost depth to this. It's just kind of this static feature now, versus when you have ray tracing, just cranked to the max, I'm able to see trees outside. Like, that's not there. I can't see that. I can't see the depth to this. And it becomes, a more kind of three-dimensional and real object to the world.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they're still using, whether it's cube maps, SSR, something along those lines, or even if it's another technique, it's, it's good for rasterization. I wouldn't say it's poor at all. It's just not up to the same quality standards as we see in with full ray tracing, right? I mean, this game, even without ray tracing, looks phenomenal. But with full ray tracing enabled, it looks truly next generation, right? This is pretty much what I think everybody expected next gen games to look like, and here we are, actually getting to experience it. So, really, really cool to see. One of the other features, obviously, that we included in this game, and it's actually the second game that we've released our version of DLSS 3.5. And the biggest addition to DLSS 3.5 is something called Ray Reconstruction. And just to kind of keep it very high level, when you are doing
Let's go.
ray tracing in a game, you have to make
Well,
something
Casey,
called
I got a
denoising
lead.
passes, and
Looks
that is
like
to
we're
essentially
dealing with the
denoise
cult.
all the image and help
The cult of
blend
the
the
tree.
pixels properly so you get what the results you see here on screen. And sometimes when you denoise, whether it's some of these custom tuned denoisers, whether it's some of our NRD denoisers, or just any kind of denoisers being utilized at all, sometimes there's some anomalies, some things that you can see that sometimes make the image look worse, more smudged. Maybe sometimes the lights don't react as they would in real time. And sometimes the reflections just look a little bit blurrier, they're less quality, low resolution, etc. Sometimes you'll look on chain link fences or power lines above, and you'll see some reduced stability in some of those areas. And so, with this new denoiser called Ray Reconstruction, it's an AI-based denoiser, and it's able to do this denoising basically at the same time we do our super resolution upscaling. So what that helps things, what that does is it
I need
makes
to find my way
some of those
back.
things that I mentioned just overall better. I think in this example here, Jake, you can kind of you could turn ray tracing on and off and see the drastic difference between what it looks like, as you can see here in the puddle, right? Um, you can see the reflections of the clouds. You don't really see anything else but clouds, right? I mean, you might see that little bit of a house in the background, but when you move up and move down, there's the limitations of the screen space reflections. You turn path tracing on, it looks incredible. You can see the power lines in the background. You can see the buildings in the background. You can see the car in front of you, the van over there, the sign. You could even turn off the ray reconstruction feature when you get a moment, and you can kind of see the difference in reflections, right? So without ray reconstruction enabled, you'll still see all the reflections that you would normally with full ray tracing enabled. But you'll also notice, and it's probably hard to catch here on stream because it's the compression and everything else, but the reflections look a lot lower quality, lower resolution, a little bit blurry,
This
not
can't be the
quite
right
as
way.
detailed, and they don't quite have the depth that you would expect them to have. And so, but the difference is pretty drastic when you're in game, and it shows the power of ray reconstruction.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, as Michael said, if it will be as apparent on stream after everything's, been compressed for YouTube, etc. But hopefully, even here, you'll be able to see a little bit with certain angles around kind of the peaks of the houses where there's a sharp contrast between the reflection of the sky and the reflection of the building. But even running this at 1080p, just for the sake of this stream, it's noticeable. And this kind of stuff becomes even more so once you start getting to 4K and things are a bit more, magnified for this. And it's kind of a testament to NVIDIA that they're looking at graphics as a holistic picture. It's not just one feature that gets pushed out and, oh, cool if it gets included or not. It's full packages of stuff. And we've talked about this in previous streams as well, that, DLSS 3.5 includes things like reflex as well, which helps with system latency, for example, and reducing the latency, improving the frame rate using the DLSS 3.5, and then combining that with RTX so you can get the best graphical experience without having to suffer for it. And, right now we're running, depending on what we're looking at, mind you, but we can run anywhere from 140 to 170 FPS, depending on exactly what's going on at the moment. And, as soon as we start losing some of the, like, DLSS benefits and everything, that can change pretty rapidly. And simply turning off frame generation has immediately tanked 70 FPS off of this. Now, don't get me wrong, we're running a 4090, so it's still very playable, but why would I run at 100 FPS when I can run at 170 FPS by clicking a button?
Yeah, and to your point, the frame generation technology and really the option in this game. This game, like I said, it's essentially every one of our technologies being utilized. So like you said, DLSS super resolution, DLSS frame generation, DLSS ray reconstruction, NVIDIA reflex, and then obviously a lot of the path tracing full ray tracing implementation that we help devs implement into their games. And so I mean, it's really just the full gamut of all of our tech.
I think I saw
The cool
something.
thing about this game is that
It'll only take a
while
minute.
it's certainly a next gen game and it doesn't run well on any GTX cards for that matter, right? You really need an RTX card in order to play this game. But with a 40 series GPU, you can enable all the options that you just saw. So essentially, you can take everything up, take all the sliders to the right, just put everything up to the max, enable DLSS super resolution. If you're at 1080p, just set it to quality. If you're at 1440p, set it to quality. And if you're in 4K, you set it to performance. And you will get amazing performance regardless of the GPU you choose. So for instance, if you have a 4060, a 4060 Ti, those cards are intended for 1080p gaming. A 4060 can run this game with DLSS 3.5 enabled, with full path tracing on high, at around 80 frames per second, right? And the 4060 Ti does it around 100 frames per second at 1080p. And then as you start to step up to 1440p, we recommend 4070 and 4070 Ti. 4070 does around 130 frames per second, and 4070 Ti does around 150. So again, that's DLSS 3.5 in quality mode, everything maxed out from a graphical perspective. And so, obviously as you step up to 4K, you start looking at 4080, 4090, and in performance mode, super resolution with DLSS 3.5, everything again maxed out. The 4080 does around 100 frames per second, and the 4090 does about 134. So you're going to have an amazing experience if you have a 40 series GPU and you're using it at its intended resolution. You're going to be able to experience a next-gen game, for really as low as, under $300 for a 4060, and if you have a 1080p panel. So it's pretty incredible to be able to experience this, with a 40 series, an entry-level 40 series GPU.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael, you make a perfect comment. It's definitely a noticeable difference for sure. I mean, I can literally be in the menu and notice it's that drastic. I can sit here and toggle on and off in the menu and in the background still see the difference. And I think this is probably one of the best areas that I've found from my limited time with the game to showcase that, this has a lot of depth to everything, and it looks like something you would immerse yourself in and actually see. And then as soon as we, turn off ray tracing, it becomes very flat. The water is very flat. It's now kind of a plane, just a two-dimensional surface, and there's no depth to it anymore. And again, to the game dev's credit, they've included, some level of this kind of ray tracing or ray tracing-esque approach, because you do see some reflections of some stuff. Like you'll see a little bit of the life preserver here, and you'll see kind of the cones here and stuff, but then you'll see the pole for this speed limit sign, but you don't really see the boat. And you lose kind of the boats over here and some of the buildings and stuff. And
yeah, you'll notice when you move up and down, you see that's the limitation of screen space reflections.
Mhm.
If you look up and down really quick, you'll see how some things change very. I don't know if you can do it really quick, but you'll see how it changes, how the reflections look,
yeah,
pretty drastically.
yeah, it's very noticeable just at the angles and stuff. And then as soon as
Yeah, see that how it popped in. When you look all the way down, there's no reflections, and when you look up, and then they appear. Right, it's kind of jarring when you're in game. It really kind of takes you out of the experience.
Exactly, and you can see that while the reflections do change based on the angle I'm looking, it's a natural thing this time. It's not just
Still there.
yeah, it's not just like Schrodinger's graphical asset to where it's either there or it's not. It's all actually involved. And here now look, we finally have the full sign. We've got this. The bank over here gets a little bit more detailed to the reflection. And again, this may be something more for me than say everyone. There are certainly games that people may not care about this as much, especially if it's a first-person shooter where you're really going for, say, high frame rate and things of that nature. And for then, DLSS or reflex, things of that nature might be more important to you. But as someone who really enjoys story-driven gameplay and being able to immerse myself in the game, and that's why I got into gaming in the first place, this kind of stuff is great to me because I enjoy witnessing this and experiencing this more so than I would without it. And that's really one of the benefits of, kind of being on the RTX ecosystem, so to speak, and being able to enjoy that full package. You're going to get an awesome game experience no matter what you're playing, especially if you got something like an RTX 4090. It's going to run whatever you want to, right? And you're going to get the high frame rates, and you're going to be able to play 4K if you want to. But getting to experience the best for ray tracing and, still have playable frame rates and everything else, that's really the full package being offered.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this, to your point, this is a story-based game, right? It's almost like an interactive movie in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
And I've been playing it for a little bit longer than you, I think, and so I've got through a little bit further than what you see here. But I mean, this game will just suck you in, and the detective elements are really well done. The way how they kind of have you figuring out the scene, how you kind of start to piece things together, and some of the puzzles, and so it's. I'll be honest, I never played the first Alan Wake. I know there's a huge amount of people out there that are just diehard fans. But this game is making me want to go back and play Alan Wake 1 after I finish this one, just to kind of to get into the groove. I actually really like this style of game. I like the ambiance. I like the art style. I like the mood. It's very well done. And I guess the cherry on top is really just, it's amazing looking. I mean, it's just really, I can only imagine just, either whether you're sitting in front of a beautiful monitor or if you're sitting down on a couch looking up at a 75-inch OLED, at 120 hertz refresh rate and playing this game, with a 4090 or something. It's just got to be completely amazing. It's just one of those games that will just suck you right in. It's one of those games that you'd showcase to kind of show off to a friend that's maybe gaming on a different platform or something, right? Say, hey, take a look at this. Welcome to PC gaming, right?
No, absolutely. And to talk a little bit about some of the gameplay itself, 'cause, obviously that's the core to all. If the graphics are great, but you still need good gameplay. And as Michael mentioned, it's, a little bit more of a detective-based game. And I don't want to delve into it too much because of the aspect of it. It's very easy to spoil stuff. But you're going to get something, and it's right at the start of the game, called the mind space. And you'll do a lot of your detective work here. And you can see depending on how fast you try to run through it and everything, 30 minutes to maybe an hour and a half tops into the game. And I've already got all of this stuff going on over here. We've got these two different maps. And it's you piecing all of this together. You profile people, you profile suspects, you have your case board over here where you're making notes and putting evidence together. There's multiple case files that you're connecting, and you'll get some manuscript pages and some other stuff. And I don't even know if I've unlocked everything yet myself, but especially seeing how large the room is, there's the potential that there's going to be some more stuff added to this as I play through it. But if you enjoy a good mystery and what seems to be a good solid story and kind of uncovering things, plus some pretty scenery to look at, this is a really solid game. And that's kind of why we wanted to emphasize the bundle at the start, because, first off, holidays are coming up, but if you've been looking at getting a card, it's not a bad time to do so and, get this game for free. And from everything that I've seen, while it does seem that there will be some tie-ins to the first game, it doesn't seem like it's a game to where you have to play the first one and have that knowledge to be able to enjoy this one. And I say that because while I did play through the entirety of the first one, it's been years and I barely remember anything from it, but it's not detracted from the experience with this.
Yeah, if you've played Remedy games in the past, right, obviously Control was a great game, Quantum Break. There's just a list of amazing Remedy games, and if you liked any of those, there's probably no reason why you wouldn't like this game, right? Even if you're not really into some of the detective thriller games that are a little bit slower paced. I think the story itself is compelling enough to really just suck you in. Like you want to find out more. You want to learn more. You want to help uncover some of the things that are going on in this small town. So far, it's been a great experience.
Yeah, and they've done a good job putting everything together too. Like even for the map and stuff here, because it's such a investigation heavy game, they've done a good job with the UI and stuff. You can see here, we can tell where we're at, and we can also tell, we've got some conversation choices and stuff over here. So on this map, while I can't go down to it now because I'm not in the area, it will mark, points of interest and some other stuff for you. So it gives you enough of some guides and clues and stuff as well to be able to kind of play through it, even if you're not familiar with a like investigation heavy horror style game. So
Yeah, agreed.
I think for the most part, this covers some discussion of kind of the tech and everything in here, and we've kind of showcased some of the, awesome beauty that is ray tracing, where we have, a scene like this versus, you know, that, which don't get me wrong is still not bad, but it's also, not RTX on. So this should hopefully kind of give you guys a bit of a feel for the game itself, a little bit of insight. Like I mentioned, we don't want to delve too deep into this because while Cyberpunk, for example, did have story-heavy elements that some other games do, it's also a lot of combat or flashiness, and there's stuff that you can kind of do without spoiling things, and this is not so much that. So we don't want to spoil anything for you guys. We want you to be able to go in and, experience a lot of this for the first time yourselves and experience the story. So we hope that you've kind of enjoyed some of these tech demos and getting to see a different side of the games than, say, like Let's Plays or some streams online, and getting to see the benefits of what you're getting with, say, an RTX 40 series card, and getting to enjoy some of these new features that NVIDIA keeps packing into all of these awesome games. So I think that's most of it from me. Michael, did you have anything else that you wanted to add or highlight? Any last things we'd like to go over?
Really just wanted to reiterate a couple of quick points. I mean, first of which, this is obviously just one scene in the game, one town in the game, right? There's a lot of other areas in the game that are your essentially in thick forest, and you'll notice that the foliage in the game is it's some of the best that you've seen, that you might have seen or probably will see for quite some time in the game. It's incredible looking, and the lighting, the natural lighting, especially at night. I mean, it's really well done. So kind of going to my final point, obviously, if you want to experience this game in all of its entirety, we have the bundle right now. So if you buy a 4070 system, or if you buy a 4070 laptop, you buy a 4070 individual card and up, right? So you buy a 4070, 4070 Ti, 4080, 4090, you'll get this game, assuming you buy it through a participating reseller or partner. So again, it's an amazing showcase of all of our technologies jam-packed into one game. And I think the reviews that you've seen thus far, maybe you haven't seen the reviews, but all the reviews, or most of the reviews so far, have been super positive for this game. So it's getting reviewed very well. The game's optimized very well. It runs well on a myriad of hardware, but having some form of upscaling is something you're going to have to have. And then look at some game optimization videos or guides or articles as well to kind of help you determine what setting works best for your hardware. But you do know, if you get a 40 series GPU, that you can just slide everything to the right, turn on DLSS 3.5, and just enjoy the game.
Yep, easy one-click way to the best experience possible to enjoy your games. And I think that's a bit what PC gaming's about, right? Just getting to have the best, and this is the best.
Yep, it pretty much is. And thanks Michael in the chat as well. Thanks for joining the stream, and hope you got some additional insights into seeing what all the cool technologies that are in this game.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Michael, so much for being here to kind of help explain some of this tech and, give insights to how all of this is working. And it's been a pleasure to have you guys in chat. Michael, you as well. Thanks for joining us and getting to experience some of this live with us here. And from me, that's it. I hope you all have a safe and fun Halloween, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Jake.